state of mankind. How much do you know? Excerpts from How the Spectre of Communism is Ruling Our World. 6. The devil's placement of its agents into every field and nation has led the ignorant and credulous to hasten their journey toward destruction. Communism teaches people to oppose belief in God and to cast out the divine. It simultaneously launches attacks on religions from the outside while manipulating people to corrupt religion from the inside. Religions have been politicized, commercialized, and turned into entertainment. Numerous morally corrupt clergymen put forward fallacious interpretations of religious texts, misleading their followers and going so far as to commit adultery with their lay members, or even pedophilia. This chaos has left sincere religious believers bewildered and bereft of hope. Just a century ago, an unwavering belief in God was a sign of moral decency. Now, religious believers are considered foolish and superstitious. They keep their beliefs to themselves, not even discussing their faith among friends, for fear of being mocked. Another important goal of communism is the destruction of the family, using ideas like gender equality and sharing wealth and wife. The 20th century, in particular, was host to modern feminist movements that promoted sexual liberation, the blurring of gender differences, attacks against the so-called patriarchy, and weakening the role of the father in the family. They changed the definition of marriage, promoted the legalization and legitimization of homosexuality, promoted the rights to divorce and to abortion, and used social welfare policies to effectively encourage and subsidize single parenthood. All of this resulted in the collapse of families and led to a greater incidence of poverty and crime. This has been one of the more startling transformations of society over the last several decades. In the political sphere, while communist regimes have continued with their rigid dictatorships, party politics in free societies have come to a point of crisis. Communism exploited loopholes in the legal and political systems of democratic nations in an attempt to manipulate major political parties. For electoral victory, politicians resorted to dirty tricks and made promises that they could never fulfill. The result of the influence of communism is that political parties around the world are often somewhere on the left of the political spectrum, advocating higher taxes, higher social welfare expenditures, big government, and interventionism, all of which they seek to entrench in legislation. The behavior of the government plays an enormous role in molding society, and with a left-leaning government, leftist ideology comes to infiltrate the entire society, backed up with the indoctrination of youth, who in turn come to elect more left-leaning candidates. The academy, which is supposed to play the role of transmitting the essence of the wisdom and culture of the ages, has also been subverted. In the first half of the 20th century, the communist spectre arranged for the systematic destruction of the education system. China, famous for its profound ancient culture, was subjected to the New Culture movement even before the establishment of the Communist Party. This was part of the effort to disconnect the Chinese people from their traditions. After the communists seized power, they nationalized the education system and filled the textbooks with party ideology, transforming generations of young Chinese into ferocious wolf cubs. In the West, the spectre launched the progressive education movement, using the banner of science and progress in order to gain control of philosophy, psychology, pedagogy, and eventually the entire academy, and thus brainwash teachers and education administrators. High school education began excluding orthodox ideas and traditional morality. Academic standards were lowered to make students less literate and numerate, and less able to form their own judgments and use common sense. Atheism, the theory of evolution, materialism, and the philosophy of struggle were all instilled in students. Following the counterculture of the 1960s, advocates of political correctness have become thought police, forcing teachers to indoctrinate students with all manner of twisted ideas. Students now graduate from school without a strong moral compass, with no foundation in their own culture, lacking common sense and a sense of responsibility, and are left to blindly follow the crowd, thus joining society's downward trend. Out in society, there is drug abuse, rising rates of crime, a media sphere full of sex and violence, an art world that treats grotesquerie as beauty, and all manner of evil cults and occult groups. Young people blindly adore film and television stars, waste their time on online games and social media, and end up dispirited and demoralized. The senseless violence of terrorism against innocents violates all moral parameters established by tradition, and makes people worry desperately about the security of the world, and what the future holds.